Good evening, fellow Toastmasters, or good day, depending on where you are. What is the best way to build our membership? What's involved in running a Speechcraft series? What's in it for you and your club? These questions and more are answered in this session. In this segment, you will understand the fundamentals of Speechcraft and its purpose, master the 11 essential steps to running a successful Speechcraft series, discover the benefits of serving as a Speechcraft coordinator, and learn how to plan, organize, and manage each session. And who better to provide these insights than a top-rated, passionate trainer on the topic? Our presenter has been quite active working the Toastmasters program and is a three-time distinguished Toastmaster. A natural leader, she has held numerous club officer and district leadership roles. She has served as District 83 Club Extension Chair and currently serves as the Club Extension Chair and Speechcraft Coordinator in District 38. In 2023, Anne launched the Speechcraft Coordinator training seminars inspired by her experience conducting a successful Speechcraft program for a nonprofit organization. She's dedicated to helping others develop effective personal and leadership growth strategies. Let's welcome distinguished Toastmaster Anne Golden.
Thank you, thank you, thank you, Pamela. Good evening, fellow Toastmasters, and welcome to District 83 Toastmasters, and a special welcome to District 81 Toastmaster. Glad to have you back, and it's just delighted to be here for District 83. To begin with, Pamela's going to put in the chat this handout, and I ask you to download the handout. And if you're comfortable taking notes on the computer or print it out, because that does include the 11 essential steps to a successful Speechcraft, and you might find it handy to use it and take notes during this session. What we're going to cover today is the Speechcraft fundamentals. And to begin with, I want to let you know that Speechcraft is a structured learning program. And what does that mean is that it follows a structured format similar to Toastmasters. There's an agenda and there's speeches, there's table topics, there's educational presentations that need to be done to teach the Speechcrafters first what they need to learn, and then they follow up with their speech. On-hands learning. They get an opportunity to deliver their speeches in front of Toastmasters, who will give them evaluations on their speeches. And we all know how wonderful the feedback has helped each of us grow. Experience mentorship. The Speechcrafters will have to be fortunate to be mentored by experienced Toastmasters, who would be the members who are going to help you with the Speechcraft. Participation in evaluations. They will also be able to evaluate their peers as the sessions move forward. And the other beautiful thing about it is that it's a short-term format. It's not long. So therefore, it's a fast track to learning what Toastmasters has to offer for speaking skills. And the format is customizable for the content. And I will explain that a little bit later, what I mean, how you can customize the content. What is the purpose of Speechcraft? Well, it came about for the purpose of benefiting non-Toastmasters. But members can also be participants in the Speechcraft. But it's a short-term program to help people become comfortable with public speaking. It's an education program. We have to remember that. It's condensed, very supportive, and it's a hands-on learning environment, just like your Toastmasters meeting. And the reason why it's a hands-on learning supportive environment is because your fellow Toastmasters will be helping you to conduct sessions. It will also help them to develop communication and leadership skills. Even though it is short term, we all know that the projects we do with our speaking, they also help us develop our leadership skills. And it also helps to build confidence and competence in our public speaking skills. And this is what's going to help people that join the Speechcraft sessions. Now, who would attend? Who would you ask to attend? And who could possibly be possible members eventually? Well, we all have someone who we might know, who may be looking for a job and they have to prepare for a job interview. It may be a family member. It may even be a colleague that your bosses don't know about. This would be a good way for them to prep for that job interview. What if someone in work has an important presentation to deliver? When they want to practice their skill, this will help them develop their public speaking skill to be able to deliver a very professional presentation and elevate them in the eyes of their executive bosses. Someone who has to make a toast at a wedding, or God forbid, you have to deliver a eulogy at someone's funeral. This helps you to become more comfortable and confident in being able to do that. And you don't have to dedicate a long term to be successful in doing it. What you do with a Speechcraft session is you are going to build your community. Really, Ann, how are we going to build a community? These people are non-members. How are we going to build our community with this? Well, let me explain to you a little bit about that in a little bit. Because Speechcraft is a club's #1 membership building tool, and I will explain how that happens. But for me, it is Toastmasters' best kept secret. That is, until Cheryl and I have hooked up to do dual presentations, and we're doing our best not to make it the best kept secret. And I think District 81 is going to be one of those that's going to make it known across Toastmasters with their success that they're going to have with Speechcraft this year. What we are going to review tonight is I'm going to go over the details of the digital bundle, the coordinator benefits on how not only your club can benefit, but you can benefit. I'll talk about planning and organizing, which is critical to your success, the resources that are available to you, and how this lines with Pathways credits, not if, but when they join your club. How this segment is going to happen is I stop at different points after I cover certain areas for questions, rather than wait until the end. However, if in the meantime you happen to have questions and you want to enter them in chat, put a Q in front of it so that Pamela will know that that's a question that she will ask at the time when I pause for questions. Is that okay with everyone? All right. I'd like to speak a little bit about that community that I was talking about, because people stay with their clubs and Toastmasters not for the education part of it, because we can join any club to participate in Pathways. The reason why we stay in our clubs is because of the community that we built in that club, the relationships that we've built with the members. And what you want to do during the Speechcraft sessions is to build a similar community with the Speechcrafters, with your members. And when you form connections with individuals, when you build those relationships, it makes it much easier for them to transfer into your club as a member, because they are already comfortable in the environment that you've provided for them. Let's get on to the digital bundle and the digital bundle requirements. In order to purchase the bundle #1, the member and the club has to be in good standing. Purchase it. You notice I said a Toastmaster or the club. Toastmaster within the club may purchase the bundle, but it has to be done through the club. And when you purchase the bundle, you are given an order number. You need to save that order number and put it in a safe spot in that email and save it, because that is the code that you have to enter in the gateway to have access to all those goodies behind the portal scene, all those resources that they give you in the agendas. And let me tell you, Toastmasters gives you everything you need behind that portal to put on a Speechcraft session. What's recommended? The coordinator. Generally, the coordinator would be the one that would be interested in buying the bundle, but it doesn't have to be. It's a 1-to-5 ratio. For every 5 participants, they recommend 1 coordinator. And that's to ensure that the speech crafters get the quality of attention that they need and that you as the coordinator are not overwhelmed. You could do 1-to-8, but I don't recommend it. Have another member in your club be a coordinator and get credit for it. And Toastmasters does not give refunds for unused slots. You get 5 slots for the purchase of the bundle. If you have a slot open, have one of your new members slide into that slot and let them get on a fast track to their pathways. What do you get in your bundle? This is exciting. I know, buying a bundle, exciting it? Yes, it is, because you get 2 videos here. That Mike Carr video, our 2020 World Championship of Speaker, his video on vocal variety is so powerful that you as the coordinator are going to learn something from it as well. And the powerful words, that is another powerful video. This is stuff that we need to be reminded of so that we can teach it to the speech crafters. It's powerful information that they give you, and they give you marketing material and the things that you need. And here is the link. Pamela's going to drop that in chat to the Toastmaster store where you can purchase the bundle. It's $50 for 5 participants. So that's $10 per participant. It's really reasonable, and it's a powerful educational program that we are offering. Purchase procedure. Now, I have checked with Toastmasters International Speechcraft to find out if there are any rules surrounding the payment, who can buy it and who can't. There are no rules. It's up to the coordinator, basically. I'm in your club and I want to do a Speechcraft. I would come to the executive committee and say, would you sponsor a Speechcraft? Well, what does that entail? Well, our members would participate in the Speechcraft session, but what that would mean is that if I happen to purchase it, I would go through my club treasurer to be reimbursed, because you want to keep the finances clear. You don't want to get involved as a member collecting money for things as a member. We are a nonprofit organization. It is a club sponsor event, and therefore I recommend that the purchase be done through the treasurer of the club. Well, is the club going to be out the money for that? No. The participants are going to pay for that material. And we call it a tuition. It's an educational program, a high-level educational program that needs to be valued. They need to pay a tuition for it. The maximum tuition that can be charged is 12 months of membership dues. And it can be used as a fundraiser towards educational needs and purposes. For example, if you charged $120, but you don't use all that $120 for your costs, you put that in your kitty. You don't have a party, you don't have food with it. I know how we in Toastmasters like to have parties around the holidays and stuff. You can't use that money for that, but what you could use it for is educational materials for your members. For example, educational ribbons. But an even better idea would be to pay for your member to go to your district conference, or give money towards a member attending the Toastmasters International Convention, which is coming to Philadelphia next year. It's a perfect opportunity to use the funds for that. Now, I want to break down how you can make members from holding a Speechcraft. It said you can charge up to $120. Well, look at it this way. If you're meeting in person and you have to pay for a venue, what you want to do is include that cost in your tuition fee. You'd break it out, be a nominal fee. It's $10 for the bundle, so you get your money back for the bundle. You charge them 6 months of a membership due, which is $60. But then charge them also the $20 for their materials, for their path, plus the tax. In the United States, there's tax anyway. So that's about $90 plus tax. And if you're going to print certificates or it's going to have printing costs, if you're meeting in person, then you would want to include that. So what happens after the Speechcraft session is done? You tell the Speechcrafters they now have 6 months membership in your club. That's why it's important to build that community while you're having that session with them. And Speechcraft, your members are coordinating with them and working with them and developing that relationship. Therefore, that's how they become members. And once you built that relationship, it's very easy for them to slide over into becoming a member of your club. This is something I spend some time on because I think it's very important, because sometimes people do not realize that this is international intellectual property by Toastmasters. It is a trademark. Speechcraft is a trademark. They went digital in 2022, around that time, 2021, 2022, because people could come in and buy Speechcraft and they were taking it and using it to make money and running classes. Now you must be a Toastmaster to purchase the Speechcraft. Therefore, you need that access code. You are not allowed to transmit any of those materials that are behind the scenes that I called in the portal and share it with anybody. For example, and what brought this to my attention is that I happened to see on Toastmasters International a post from someone that was conducting a Speechcraft, but they needed the agenda and they asked if someone could give them the agenda. We're Toastmasters. We're here to help others. We don't stop and think. It's like, sure, I'll send you the agenda. No, time out. Stop. Stop. If she purchased the Speechcraft bundle, she would have access to behind the scenes and she would have access to the agenda. She didn't purchase the bundle. And she's not doing the Speechcraft for her club because she won't get credit for it. You have to assume that, because purpose for doing the Speechcraft is so that they can get credit when they become members. If you don't pay for it, the Speechcrafters can't get credit for the projects that they do. That's so important to realize that, and it's something that we don't realize. So I spent a few minutes covering that to make us realize that it's an innocent enough ask, but if you really think about it, you can't share that information. It's proprietary information for Toastmasters International. And this Protocol 5.0 shows you that Speechcraft can only be sponsored at the club level. The area cannot sponsor it and run it. Divisions cannot, and districts cannot. Those leaders cannot say, I'm going to sponsor a Speechcraft and bring the members, and I'm going to tell you what clubs are going to get those members. Can't be done. However, districts are known to provide incentives to clubs to conduct a Speechcraft, sort of like an open house. And there I go, rather than call it an open house, call it a free educational seminar, do an introduction to Speechcraft, and get people from that seminar to sign up for Speechcraft, rather than call it an open house. We're not in the real estate business. I know that's our terminology and it has been forever, but every time I hear open house, and I've been a member since 2015, I still think of real estate. It's not. Let's start changing the terminology that we use to be more professional, to align with what we're doing. Coordinator benefits. Now, this is the fun part. What's in it for you, and what is in it for the club? Well, for number one, it allows you to do that check off. It fulfills one of the requirements for the Distinguished Toastmaster. You either have to do a youth leadership program, which is 3 to 4 months in person. I think the other one may be a club sponsor. I'm not sure. I never remember the second one. But the third one is a Speechcraft session, and that benefits your club. I'd go with the Speechcraft naturally. It helps you with your leadership development because you're practicing your skill. This is program management. That's why it's considered a distinguished Toastmaster leadership project that you need to do. It's project planning, coordination. You're going to be communicating with different Toastmasters. My God, we're going to communicate to strangers. You know how uncomfortable we are with that? Even as a leader, I still am uncomfortable talking to a group of strangers. Still happens. You still get nervous. So it helps us overcome that. But you develop your skills with anything. The more you do it, the more you improve. You will enhance your public speaking and communication skills. You are going to learn so much from the materials behind the scenes of what you need to do to conduct this speechcraft with the speechcrafters that it's going to enhance your ability as far as public speaking. You're going to be picking up tips. Networking and community building. I've already talked about that. You want to develop that community relationship with these members, with these participants. Recognition and credibility. I already said it's project management. This will get you recognized by your district leaders and club leaders. Shows you have leadership ability. It would also enhance your professional career. You put this on your resume. What's involved in this? Your bosses are going to look at you differently. Believe me, it is that valuable. And pathways progress. You will also make progress in your pathways. Well, how am I going to do that? I'm not speaking. Well, you may. What happens if you give one of the educational presentations that are required? In Toastmasters, we don't speak for free. I learned that from Ola from District 38. His last name is Laniya. I can't pronounce it, so I'll spell it for you. He's in Africa right now. He's still part of 38. But that's how you move along in your path. You don't speak for free. If you're a facilitator at officers training, get one of those officers to evaluate you. Count that. Give them the generic form. Don't speak for free. That's how you move along in your path. How do you think I got to DTM3? I did 2 of them in pathways. All right. And personal fulfillment. I don't know about you, but I definitely get personal fulfillment when I share my knowledge and I'm teaching others what I know. And at the end of the session, the light bulb goes on and they're so appreciative. There's nothing like it. And that's what we're supposed to do in Toastmasters anyway. At this point, I like to stop and ask if there are any questions on this part of the presentation. I go into more details later, but are there any questions, Pamela, in chat, or people can raise their hand on this part of the presentation?
And there was a question in chat. You answered it, but I think it's worth repeating, and I may add a little bit to that question.
Okay.
If there are more than 5 people, would I have to purchase another bundle? That was the question posed. I'm going to add to that and say, what if I have less than 5 people?
Okay. If you have more than 5, you have to purchase another bundle. And that's when I recommend you get another Toastmaster in your club to be the coordinator, because if you do both, you will only get credit for one, for doing one Speechcraft session. You bring in another member, and even if they don't know they're on their way to a DTM, like I didn't when I first started, and then you take a look at the checkoff boxes that you accomplished, this gives them a checkoff box that they've accomplished something, that they can get credit for being a Speechcraft coordinator. If you have less than 5, there's no refunds. That would remain an open slot. That is where I recommend that you slide in a member into that slot and let them fast track. Now, these are level 1s and 2s, so you want to make sure it's a newer member who maybe hasn't done that, or maybe a member who's starting a new path. If you don't have a brand new member that would like to fast track onto their next path, you could let them come in on there and they could be a resource for you to help mentoring the participants there. And you know how we like to talk in round robins, and they could be given advice as well. So that's how that can work out. Any other questions, Pam?
Yes, I have a question. Do we have to charge? I am looking at doing a speechcraft at work.
Okay. Why wouldn't you charge for an educational program such as this to give it the respect that it needs? Toastmasters is offering a valuable program. People don't value free. If you were to offer a Dale Carnegie for $3,000, would you give it for free? It's $60. It's not that much. And if it's a way to get employees or employees to join your club. If you want to just charge them the $10, you could do that. But we're not in the business of losing money as members or as clubs. And therefore, give it value by offering a price for it. Value what Toastmasters programs are. Toastmasters doesn't give away Pathways program for free. There's value in it. The other thing, I'll get to you, Dewana. The other thing I wanted to mention is that even if you only had one speech crafter, you can conduct the Speechcraft series and you will get credit for being a Speechcraft coordinator. You only need one person. Yes, Dewana.
Yes, DTM, and thank you for taking my question. I just want, it's a comment really. I'm a ERG at corporations, sometimes Toastmasters has to be a little different.
Right.
She probably cannot, she's not allowed to charge at work. I know if I was doing a speechcraft at my corporate club, we would not be allowed to charge. So the question is, do we have to charge? Because corporations work different because she'll pay for it and expensive, we're not allowed to charge.
Mm. You're not allowed to charge for them to be members of a club either?
You can charge to be a member of the club, but sometimes the corporation's paying for the membership and that's prearranged in
Okay.
advance. We can't be changing the cost of what it is.
Well, if the corporation's willing to pay for the Speechcraft, that's fine. Or if the club has the funds to pay for it.
Yeah, but the question is, do you have to charge people to attend? Is that a requirement?
No,
Okay, great. Thanks.
it's not a requirement. You're right, corporate is different than a community.
Yeah, it's not a requirement, but typically this is used for community clubs more so to raise money. And they don't, when you are signing people up for Speechcraft, part of that cost that's built in there, and I don't know, did you go over that yet, Anne, about the membership? Yeah,
I
part
can
of
go
that.
over it again.
Yeah, part of that, well, go over that again, and that might help them understand why there's a charge. It's not just the program itself, but it's what comes with it.
Right. It's for
Okay.
the membership is what it is. You're actually charging them. You don't have to, but if you want them to become members, and that's the purpose of doing the Speechcraft, is you charge them that 6 months membership fee. Because then when the Speechcraft session is over, to continue on their personal and professional development, they slide over into the club. You don't process their membership until after the session is completed, after the Speechcraft session is completed. Then it's at that point that you would add them to your membership list in Club Central. And it would be at that point they would become members. And then they would get credit for the speeches that they completed in Pathways and Speechcraft. And it would equate to certain levels and projects in Pathways. That is why you're charging, because if you don't charge them, and if your company pays for them to be members, how are you going to get them to be members? The purpose of having the Speechcraft is to increase your membership base, even in a corporate club. So that's the purpose of it. Does that
Vern,
answer your question?
Vern has his hand up. Mhm.
Yeah.
Yes, Fern.
Hi, thank you. Sorry about such a blunt question, but what is Speechcraft? I'm not sure if I missed part of what you were talking about, but I really have no idea what it is.
Okay.
And the, I think the information that you provided so far that I saw is very good as far as how we can put it into practice, but I
Mm-hmm.
still don't understand exactly what it is
Well,
and
you're
why
going to
people would want to do speechcraft. Is that something you're going to go over next, or?
I'm going to show you what's actually involved in the speechcraft. But basically, what it is, it's a short-term, fast-track level 1 to get people to work on their public speaking skills. People that come to speechcraft initially, they're not enticed with a club per se, commitment of a club. This is a short term, and I'm going to go into how long the sessions are, what's involved in it, and what it is. It's a mini Toastmasters meeting. And the purpose of it is to get their interest into becoming a member. That's part of it. But the other part is you have to realize maybe not everybody is ready to join a club, but it's something they need for a short term to enhance their speaking skills for something that's coming up, a presentation, or someone that's going to give a sermon, a longer sermon than what they're used to, and they're not comfortable. So they want to practice their skill. And these are the initial public speaking skills that Toastmasters teaches that's involved in the speechcraft. And I'll show you what's involved in it. Toastmasters has their definition says is a short-term public speaking workshop designed by Toastmasters International to help participants develop communication and leadership skills in a condensed, supportive environment. And I basically went into detail about that, but it still doesn't tell you what it is. And I'm going to show you in the next group of slides. And then if you still have more questions about it, I'd be happy to answer.
Thank you.
Does that work? All right. So if there's no more questions, I will move on.
Mhm.
Okay, no more questions. Planning. This is the fun part. Planning, planning, planning. What's involved? What I've done here for you is to show you a timeline of the planning and the preparation that is required to conduct a speechcraft. If you wanted to have a speechcraft session the end of January, you need to start now. That means you need to purchase the bundle. You need to go behind the portal. You need to purchase the bundle, review all the protocols, and know protocols and the legal stuff behind it that you're responsible for that I went over. You have to go into the portal and get the materials because Toastmasters supplies you, the coordinator, the materials that you need for you and the participants for the learning curriculum. You need to market it. Then you need to organize everything and plan it and assign roles. So it's not like you can plan this in 2 weeks and get it going. It doesn't work that way. Pamela's going to drop in the chat, which is a Speechcraft event preparation checklist, which goes over what I discussed so far and what I'm going to discuss. It's a summarization of what I am discussing here today. And basically, it's telling you you will have it in a hard copy, that you have to be a Toastmaster in good standing, and it tells you that the members have to go to the club officers. You just can't say, I'm going to do this. You need your club officers to buy in and agree to do it. And it's important that you follow these procedures. And it tells you some of the responsibilities of the coordinator.
And this is Sridhar speaking.
Yes.
We don't have ability to look at the chat and get the link that you're sharing. Is it possible you'll be able to mail it to me?
Yes, that would be Pamela. She would take care of that if she can't put the stuff in chat and you can't
Yes,
see it.
I can send it to you using the email that you registered.
Okay, that'll be nice. And are you going to share this deck as well?
No, the deck is not. No.
Okay.
Okay.
Thank you.
And she'll send you the links as well. So all the registrants. This is the best practices that I created that goes over the best practice for the Speechcraft. And it basically tells you what you need to do for preparation and planning. You have to review and study the Speechcraft resources on the portal. It gives you a step-by-step as to what you need to know to do this. It reiterates that the club treasurer processes payment. Again, this is all reminder for you, and I thought this would be helpful. I even put in here a breakdown of the payment, number 3, on how to charge the participants and the purpose of that. And this is how you get them to be members, because then they have a 6-month membership when the Speechcraft session ends. Now, what do you need to do 6 to 8 weeks before? Speechcraft is either a 4-week, a 6-week, or 8-week series. Depending on your client and your schedule, that's how you would schedule the Speechcraft series. You would set the date and time. You could have the Speechcraft during your club meetings, if that's what you chose to do, or you could have it outside your club at a different time. Keep in mind, if you conduct it during your club meeting, it would be easier for your members to participate and help you run the Speechcraft, and you'll know what those roles are in the next couple of minutes. But keep in mind that if you only have an hour meeting, you may want to extend your meeting to maybe an hour and a half so that your members can also give a speech if they wanted to. That's up to you as the coordinator to decide with your club as to how you would like to have this done. And this is what I said. Will the sessions be conducted during your regular meetings? Will they be 1 hour or 2 hours? My sessions were 2 hours. They were for a nonprofit. They weren't interested in joining Toastmasters. It was something for their organization that they were going to do, and they needed to be prepared to do it. So mine was a 2-hour session. You need to establish the tuition cost. You have to make a decision on what you're going to charge. And you need to stand firm with that and stick to it. Then you need to review all your Speechcraft protocols and know your legal responsibility. Now realize here with the sessions being 1 to 2 hours, I'll get into that about time for speeches and things. And you need to review the Speechcraft materials and explore the Speechcraft gateway. You need to get familiar with maneuvering around there, where you need to get your resources and the tasks that you need to perform in portal. And they have updated the Speechcraft portal similar to what they did with the Basecamp portal. They actually replicate one another on how you the information. Please let me finish mine and put your questions in chat. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. You need to recruit members to be your guides. You need 1 guide per Speechcrafter. They act as their mentors during the Speechcraft session. They help them with their speeches. They provide feedback to them. They're there with them every step of the way. They're there to answer questions. You need a Toastmaster to present the educational presentation. I will tell you what that material is in a minute. That Toastmaster should get credit for it for their Pathways project. So therefore, you need an evaluator for the educational presentations. You need evaluators initially for the Speechcrafters' initial speeches. The guides could evaluate their icebreakers, but you still need evaluators for the Speechcrafters. You need a table topics master. You need a general evaluator. You need a timer. All things are timed. It's a mini Toastmasters meeting with table topics and speeches. And I added the odd counter, and they were grateful for it. Table topics, speeches. The time for this is your table topics are 30, 60, and 90 seconds. It's much shorter than a regular meeting. Your icebreakers are 2 to 3 minutes. Their regular speeches are 4 to 5 minutes. The evaluations are 2 to 3 minutes. So it's more condensed and shorter speech time and shorter table topics so that you can get the details in of the meeting that you need to do, especially with the presentation. Where do you get the presentation materials from? It's free. It's out there on Toastmasters store. It's the Better Speaker series. It's a module. these topics match up with the topics that Toastmasters International put in for the speech crafters to learn and to develop their speeches from. It's free. They give you a facilitator manual, just like when you do officer training, they give you the facilitator manual. They spell out what you need to show in your presentation to the speech crafters. So you go to the Better Speaker series and you get that information. And then in the portal, Toastmasters provides you an outline of what they want you to talk about specifically in introducing a speaker. That's the first lesson that you're going to teach them because it's important about the introduction. It covers that. So what the Speechcraft does is you're going to teach a lesson in the meeting, and the following meeting, they will develop a speech and deliver it based on the lesson that you taught in the first meeting. The first meeting is an acquaintance meeting, explaining to them what's going to happen in the session, that they're going to learn how to develop their speeches, and that they have to mark their projects completed, just like we do in Pathways, and that the coordinator has to go in and validate that they did complete their speeches in order for them to get credit. And so you have these lessons that you will ask your Toastmasters to volunteer to give these presentations. And these are generally about an 8 to 10 minute presentation. And as you see here, these are the subject matters for the speech crafter speeches. Choose a topic. That's their icebreaker. Know your purpose relates to writing a speech with a purpose and Pathways. Body language and vocal variety. You have them do that as one speech so that they can get through all their speeches, just like we do in Pathways. And they get evaluated on this. Giving and receiving feedback. There's a speech there. So these are the topics that the speech crafters are given. And these are the topics on which the Better Speaker series lessons are given on. Now, how does this equate when they become a member? Because the purpose of the Speechcraft is to get them up to speed on their public speaking skills. But if you noticed, it's also about leadership. Because a leader does their work, correct? They prepare, they deliver their speech, they accept feedback, they take on meeting roles. During the meeting, eventually, maybe you will have the Speechcrafter be a table topics master. Maybe you'll let them take the general evaluator role. And that would be good because when they become a member, they would have completed 2 of the 3 required leadership roles for level 4. It's Toastmaster, table topics, and general evaluator. They're required to complete those leadership roles. Now, I give a better breakdown, and if you like, you can take a snippet of this. Choose a topic as the icebreaker. They only give 1 speech. That's fine. And they come over to your club. They will get credit for an icebreaker speech. If they complete 2 speeches, that gives them 2 level 1 speeches. If they complete body language and vocal variety, even though they're 2 separate topics, you want them to complete those speeches so they can get credit for all 8 speeches. And there's a reason for that. That will count as 3 speeches for level 1. Now, this is where the fast track begins. Their 4th project would be giving and receiving feedback. This is where they would give a speech, their first speech, or it would be their evaluation and feedback second speech, because what they're supposed to do for that speech is to incorporate the feedback that they've received from the prior 2 or 3 speeches. But here they are given specific instructions that the purpose of this speech, and they have to determine which one they want to choose. They have to either inform, persuade, entertain, or inspire their audience. And that's how the speech has to be developed. Once they give that speech and received an evaluation, they have now completed level 1. If they do no more speeches in the Speechcraft and stop at that point and they become a member, when they come over as a member, Toastmasters, with steps that you follow, will give them credit for level 1. They have to do an evaluation. That's part of a leadership role. You learn how to evaluate a fellow participant's speech. When they do that, it equates to a level 2 project completion And Toastmasters connects it to mentoring, introduction to Toastmasters mentoring. And if you think about it, that makes sense because the other two projects in level 2 are about understanding your leadership and understanding communication on all the projects. That would make sense. So if they complete 5 speeches, they'll come in at level 1 and completing 1 level 2 project. If they complete all 8 speeches, and that's why I said had them combine that, they will come in with a level 1 completion, 1 level 2 project, and 2 electives in level 3. Why? Because the powerful words is more or less using descriptive language. It's word choice. Prepared to present can be used for any one of the other electives in level 3. If you get them to complete all 8 speeches, you get a DCP point for level 1. They're 1/3 of the way level 2. And they got their electives completed for level 3. They only have to do the main project for level 3. What happens if they can't and you can't get in all 8 speeches? I already said they will get credit for what they come with, what they complete. You as the coordinator have to verify in the portal. There's a tile called speech validation. You have to validate that, saying you're confirming that they completed that. That's similar to as a base camp manager when you go in and approve someone's completed project. That's what you're doing in the portal. All these resources are available to you behind the portal. Are there any questions on this section of the presentation as far as the planning and what's conducted in a Speechcraft meeting? Vern, does that help you understand what Speechcraft is?
He's muted. There's a couple of questions in the chat that may actually go over to your first section and second
That's
section.
fine.
But I think I just heard Vern chime in. Did you?
Gives me a little bit better idea, but basically, are we just having them come in, do speeches, give them some of the training that we would usually do as a Toastmasters member without them actually being a member?
Correct.
Okay.
Correct.
Right.
That's what you're doing. And it's a shortened session. They only get to do at the most 8 speeches. But they're learning all the skills. They're learning from the general evaluator. They're learning how to do impromptu speeches because they were asked to participate in table topics. There are agendas that lay out what's supposed to be covered by meeting. There's an agenda for a 4 session, an agenda for a 6 session, and an agenda for an 8 session. And if you don't have the 8 sessions, you as the coordinator can pick and choose what topics you are going to cover. Pick out the most important topics you think are crucial that they need for basic communication skills and cover those topics. And that's what they would get credit for.
Right. And keep in mind, this serves a few purposes. One is possibly your club getting new members, because if they enjoy this program, they will likely join your club. The other is anyone who completes a Speechcraft session. This is one of the requirements to earn your DTM. So all those things are important. Question in the chat is, how do we collect payments?
Okay, they would pay the club. The participants would send the money to the treasurer on however you collect money, whether it's Venmo, Zelle, check. I don't recommend as a member that you collect the money. I would have them send it directly to the treasurer. And that's how the club gets reimbursed for the payment. And then when you charge that 6 months membership fee of $80 plus tax, that goes into the club's kitty. I know some clubs may not have a bank account with corporate clubs. And that's something they would have to work out. But otherwise, when it came time for payment, that's when the payment would be made for them as a member. When you enter them in, you would have the funds to be able to make payment for them, be a member for 6 months. So you collect that money up front.
There's another question in the chat. I'm not sure I completely understand it, but if you don't, Anne, you can ask them to clarify. Can a club of 20 members do Speechcraft style meetings?
No. You can do a speechathon. No, that circumvents the purpose of it. You could do speechathons. If you wanted to get people fast tracked onto their pathways, you could do a speechathon and have that's, I guess maybe that's what you mean by Speechcraft like meetings, but it would be a speechathon. You would sign up for 3 or 4 speakers to do their speeches and have them evaluated and do table topics, that type of a thing. But as a club with 20 members, why not grow your base and do a Speechcraft and make it 25? 25. Does that answer your question? Who asked that?
Yeah, it does. Got a thumbs
Okay.
up. And do you purchase the bundle first or get people to sign up for Speechcraft first? If you buy the bundle first, do you have to hold sessions within a certain amount of time?
Okay. The idea is to buy the bundle first. That bundle has an access number, and until you use it, it's yours. It's an eternity. You have access to it. It's like those Toastmaster certificates, gift certificates. All right. Doesn't expire. However, once you go into and the reason why you want to buy the bundle first and get access behind the scenes is because I'm going to go over this is a lot that you need to know. There are materials behind the scenes. There are resources that you have to download. There's a slideshow. There are videos that you as a coordinator have to review and look at and learn what it is Toastmasters wants you to teach these speech crafters. It's not, well, I'm just going to go in and talk about XYZ and, all right, Pamela, tell me something about yourself in 2 to 3 minutes. I'm going to count that as your icebreaker. Are you really giving them value for their money? Are you really teaching them anything? No. You need to learn what the material is about and how Toastmaster wants you to present this material. It's an education program and it needs to be presented as such. And therefore, the access code that you get, you need to go in and access the portal using that access code. What you do then is you create an event. You don't have to put your start time or the end time at that point. You do, and that's why it has to be sponsored by club in good standing, because you need to enter in the club's name. And then you have to be associated with the club to be the coordinator. That's why it says a member in good standing and the club in good standing. You also have to enter in what you are charging the participants for the Speechcraft. You're charging them 60, you're charging them 80, it requests that information. Once you put in your start date, you have about a week before you can change that start date, but you don't want to put it in until you're ready. That means you need to market it. You need to find out who your clients are. Depending on your clients, it's going to determine how long your sessions are. You have to decide whether you're going to have a 4, 6, or 8 week session, because that's going to determine your end date. These are things you have to decide, and that's why you need to purchase the bundle first. Get in behind the scenes, get the materials, download it, organize it, and understand what it is. Then you have to recruit your members, and you have to recruit. It takes time to recruit members to be facilitators for the presentations, to be the table topic master, to be the general evaluator. Your guides have to be there for every meeting. We know life happens and sometimes they may not be able to be there, but that's why you need one guide per speech crafter, because then another guide has to step up and support that participant for that meeting, or you as a coordinator would need to do that. And you have to realize that you're just not mentoring them during the meeting. There's communications between meetings, between you and the participant and mentoring them. They may have questions about how to put a speech together. They may have questions about what to speak about or what the lesson means. And that's where you're there to answer them. It's like mentoring a new member through their first level. That's what you're doing with the speech crafters. You're mentoring them. That's what the guides are doing. And your Toastmasters being the Toastmaster, general evaluator, timer, table topics master. We learn by observing. You're teaching them how those roles are done, and you need to recruit members. And not everybody's going to be able to attend all meetings. So therefore, you need to recruit several of your network Toastmasters to help you put on these meetings. And that's why you need to buy the bundle ahead of time. You need to
Yeah.
market it.
I have one more question in the chat. Are there suggested promotional materials included?
They give you one flyer, one promotional flyer. But have you been on Facebook lately and seen some of these flyers that are coming out from Toastmasters clubs? Make your own. With the vibrant colors we have with the maroon and the blue, make your own. Look what District 83 did with my Speechcraft flyer. Look at the vibrant colors in that. Did it attract you? Well, then that's the type of a flyer you want to make to post in the neighborhoods on your internal network and work to attract people to come to the sessions and to send out in emails and post on social media. Is it okay to move on?
Any more questions before we move on? I don't see any hands up and no more questions in the chat.
Okay, great. Now we're going to go into the resources and gathering. I'm getting down to the nitty-gritty here because when I did my Speechcraft, I was like, where am I getting this information? And where am I going to put it? And so what I did was I organized my files. And I'm going to show you what I did. I created a folder called the 2023 Speechcraft Project because that's when I did it. And then within that folder, I created all these subfolders. These ones here, the Speechcraft Coordinator Instructions. In that folder is all the materials that I downloaded from the portal. Why did I do that? What happens if the web's down and you need to access that material and you can't get to it? I downloaded all the materials I was going to need to help me understand how I was going to put on those sessions. They have guides instructions out there as well for you to share with your guides. There's a guide on how to deliver feedback. And then there's Speechcraft session resources. Remember, I showed you the outline that they provided for the one about creating a topic or introduction? Well, for every presentation, there is a resource outline that you can download. For every speech that the speech crafters give, there is an associated evaluation resource, but they also have resources to those manuals. You have certificates at the end. I downloaded all their certificates and I presented that to them at a special meeting. Yes, they can access their certificates once everything's approved and say, even if they only do one speech, they will get a certificate that says they were a participant in a Speechcraft. So everybody who participates in the Speechcraft gets a certificate. You as the Speechcraft coordinator will get a certificate. Make sure you download that. That is your proof of completion. Even though it's all digital and Toastmasters will know, I still downloaded my certificate. And there's agendas. And Toastmasters gives you advice on what to present for each session. That's why you see sessions 1 through 8, because after I downloaded all my resources, then I organized it per session so that I knew what materials were needed for what session. And I didn't have to go through all the files in here. I could just easily click on the file I needed for session 1 and send it to my presenter and say, these are your materials for putting together a presentation. The agendas I put in there because each of the agendas are a little bit different because you have time during the meeting as the guides to meet with the speech crafters in a separate room if you do it online and to mentor them during that session and to answer questions. So that's why I organized it. And you see the templates? I downloaded all the templates for the 4, the 6, and the 8 session. I didn't know what one I was going to do. Download it. So you have them all. You have all the resources in front of you. How did I organize my members who came and provided the support I needed for my sessions? There's a data validation sheet in Excel that you can do. What I did was on the second tab, I created a role validation and I listed all the meeting roles that I needed. For one session, there were 2 presenters, and that's session 1. So that's why you're seeing that. But you need the educational presenter. I needed a table topics master, a general evaluator. I needed a timer. I added the op counter. That's what I needed. Then these were the sessions I decided I would have and the dates. And then over here are the educational topics. And I listed that there. Now, why did I do that? Because on the first tab, this was the participant sign up. I shared this with the people that I asked to volunteer. And I said, go in and sign up. This is the drop down. It's based on the validation. You can only select what was on the previous tab. So they could come in here and say, okay, I want to do session 1. And I'm going to sign up to be an evaluator for the educational presenter. Well, what am I evaluating? Well, she's doing a presentation on selecting a topic and organization. They could come in here and select. They were going to be the general evaluator. One was going to be a table topics master and the other one was going to be a timer. I didn't have to fill this out. It saved me a lot of time and it made more efficiency in setting it up. And as you notice up at the top, I listed all my guides. These were Toastmasters that volunteered to be guides. And because I had 10, they had to take on 2 speech crafters. But this is how you organize it and you know who's coming to what session and what role they're filling so that you can complete the agenda. And the agenda is in the same format that we're used to in the Toastmasters brand agenda. So it's the same layout. You just don't have the officers listed on the side. Pamela should have been dropping in chat, but since you can't access it, you are going to get about 13 resources in an email. All right, 13 attachments, and she'll send you some links. And basically what this Speechcraft Coordinator training is a list of all the links. YouTube links from Toastmasters that show you videos. It gives you the links to the Better Speaker series. Any link that you need associated with the information that I have presented here today is on this sheet. So Pamela will be sending that to you as well. I have provided you with all the resources that you need to research and to do what you need to do to put on a Speechcraft series. The only thing that I cannot take you to is because they have updated it. And I did have a video, but it's outdated because the steps are different. The process and the content's the same. But someone was asking me a question for my help, and they happened to send me, this is the new view of Speechcraft. If you look at it, it's similar to the Pathways portal, Basecamp. You now have the left navigation side. Oops, you now have the left navigation side. This is the Speechcrafter main menu. This is what they get to choose. These are their topics. And over here on the right, these are all slides. You'll see this resource. When you click on that resource, all the resources related to a particular topic will drop down. That's how you know what resources are for what, and you would download all of them. As the coordinator, to find out to make sure that the Speechcrafter marked their projects complete, this is where you would go in the coordinator tracking. And that's how you find out that they completed their assignment and they marked it. They have to mark it complete. I don't know if they changed that they have to do, there's a before, middle, and an end assessment. They don't have to do it to get credit, but the before assessment gives them an idea of where they are at in their public speaking skills and how they feel about speaking in front of strangers. Then they're asked to complete it again at the midpoint, and they're asked to complete it at the end point. And that is for them and for you. It's not a complicated question. I think there's like 12 questions, but it's an assessment for them. They don't have to do it. I'm not sure if they changed that interface because I don't have access to that at this point. I have to buy a bundle to go back in and to see what's there. But if you are ready to launch your Speechcraft series, let your District 83 Club Quality Chair know. And the district can do what they can if they have the resources to help you market it, to give you ideas on how to market your Speechcraft series. But it is a fast track to learning public speaking skills. It's the basic public speaking skills, level 1 and level 2. Does anybody have any questions?
I know
Where's
there's a
Vern?
lot of information in this session, and you may not have captured it all, and who knows, you may need to attend another session. But it is a lot to learn.
Any questions? Anybody ready to hold a Speechcraft? Donna, you look really enthused, so I'm going to pick on you. What about you, Donna?
Well, I was considering it, but I don't think that I don't have people resources right now to have all the help that we need to put that together.
You can ask other Toastmasters. Doesn't have to be from your club. You can reach out to Toastmasters in other clubs to help you. Because that's what I did. I reached out to past district leaders to help me. Bosh McCrum, Marianne Grady was in Florida. I had her because mine was on Zoom. So if it's on Zoom, you can reach out across your network of Toastmasters to come and help you. You have friends in Toastmasters outside your other clubs. It does work.
Yeah. Debbie Crutchfield says that they're planning on doing one in January.
That's
which is good.
fantastic.
Start off a new year.
And I will share links with Pamela that she can share with you. There is videos out there from Cheryl Roush on how to market a Speechcraft on her YouTube channel. If you just ROUSH, if you type her in Google, YouTube, she gives a phenomenal presentation on how to market your Speechcraft. And it's like, you just market it. You just, post. You know people who need help. You invite them to attend. As a matter of fact, that's how Cheryl Rouse became a Toastmaster. She was invited to a communications skills session, 7 a.m. in the morning. The woman offered to buy her breakfast. Yes. And she went and she stayed and she's been in there. She's been a Toastmaster for over 37 years.
Yeah, yeah.
And she gives a phenomenal presentation on how to market it.
Yes, she does.
And it is well worth it. I had so much fun giving my Speechcraft session. It was a lot of fun and they were very thankful. And they learn a lot. And when you build that community, it's just only natural that they come in and become your members. It's one of the easiest ways. Open houses, you may have 5. Now, some clubs are very successful with open houses. You could have 5, 6 people on an open house. Based on that open house, 2 may come back and 1 may join. You have 5 people undivided attention for consecutive weeks to build that relationship with. You're giving them your best. You're teaching them your skills. People are appreciative. And when you offer them the opportunity to continue that enrichment program, and it's a 6 months, they can come over and join your club and be a part of your club for 6 months. They may or may not rejoin. That's going to depend upon you and your members. Are you engaging? Are your members engaging? Are you staying engaged? And when you build communities, it's like that movie that Kevin Costner was in. I'm a baseball fan. If you build it, they will come. That baseball fan, because they're baseball enthusiasts. If you build that community, they are going to come over and stay. It's building that community. Are you being sincere with them? Are you really interested in them? Are you helping them? Are you engaging with them? If you're not friendly and engaging with, I'm not coming to your club. I'm out of here. And we're naturally engaging people. And if you're warm and welcoming to me and I come to your meeting, I'm going to come back. Well, you got 4, 6, 8 weeks. After 8 weeks with you, they don't like you. They're never going to like you. So you don't want them in your club. You want someone who likes you, someone you like, right?
There's
It
another
works.
there's another note. Bermuda is planning one in January as well. Very good. Very good.
Please let me know how you make out, Donna Mae. Please let me know. You have my email, right? If not, I can put it in the chat. Let me put my email.
I did post
Did
your
you?
information. I will post it again just in case. And for those of you who are still here, as I said, this is recorded. The recording will be posted on the District 83 website, probably in about a week or so. And that's www.tm83.org. Also, I will be sending all the attachments and links that Anne provided to you via email. I will be using the email in which you registered for this session with. So hopefully that's your correct email, but that's where it will be sent. So do we have any other questions before we say good night? I don't see any hands raised. I don't see any questions in the chat. And this was wonderful, Anne. I learned a lot, even though this is my second time hearing this presentation. I learned something new each time. And one day, I hope to be doing this, maybe next year. We shall
Donna
see.
Mae has a question. Yes, Donna Mae.
Yes, good evening, everyone. I'm sorry I can't be on camera right now. However, I'm new. Well, I'm not, well, 3 years I've been at the Bermuda Toastmasters Club, and this year I am president. What I've been learning is thank you very much. We've had two of our younger ladies that have been channeling and doing some magnificent work in the community on behalf of our clubs, and they decided to join up. And in addition to that, the club itself, from some of our members, have been doing some speechcraft at the prisons and at the economic center and out of difference. But these two young ladies have decided that they will do community work using our Toastmasters. They let us know, and they did a bunch of young men, the battalion, and they did that together and selected a winner. And we had the winner come to our end of year celebration.
Awesome.
So we sort of had divided the two. It's not often that any additional go into their community, unless they call us to help out. And we try to let them mold it and do it, on the earn a little bit, because they work so good together. And they don't attend as many meetings, but they're using the speechcrafts as part of their contribution. So what we find is sometimes the young people can't attend because they're busy, busy, busy. And one of them is a DTM, and the other one is working towards a DTM. When one became a DTM on the old pathways. But they decided that, you know what, we can't get to meeting, but this is what we're gonna do as part of the Toastmasters community, and they charge and the funds come back to us. So we're glad, not everybody can do that. So there's something that I thought that that I can mention because we're part of that. And not every club has young people that want to do that can't make the meetings regularly, but they do show
Right.
up on occasion. And
Yeah.
sometimes I have to call them and bounce them up. But I did definitely let them know that whenever one starts, let us know first. Let us know so we don't have any surprises up the road that we're doing Toastmasters and that, like, really? Just let us know, drop a note, drop a this, let us know, so we know what's going on, so we can record it in the book because things have changed because they were under the the older pathways and stuff. So a lot of things have changed. So we're trying to keep them up, but we're just glad that those two ladies are enthused enough to be able to want to go in the community together on their own. Well, not on their own, but with our support.
Thank
So,
you.
and
Thank
they're
you.
doing that one in January.
Good.
Very
Hi,
good. Thanks for
Matomi.
sharing.
Matomi from Africa. You ready to have one then?
Oh yes, thank you so much. We are going to plan one in our area here in South Africa. Thank you so much for such resources that you shared with us, and yeah, we'll definitely do it. Thank you so much.
All right, fantastic. Fantastic. All right. Well, it's been lovely. There's no further questions. I appreciate your right? Listen to me, my English.
Oh,
I
we got-
thank you all for coming.
Thank you very much, Anne. I truly appreciate you doing this presentation for us.
Thank you. Thank you for having me. It was an honor.
All right. Good night, everyone.
Good night.
Good night, everyone.
Good night.